What's up? What's going on? How y'all doing? How y'all feeling? Let's get down to the situation, but please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share the video, y'all. So let's get into this whole situation. Let's talk about the reunion, the Real Housewives of Potomac. Let's get into it when we talk about Chris and Giselle. So you already know Chris was, yelling and screaming, and he's upset, and he's demanding this and he's demanding that, and his tone was very harsh and everything because he has been lied on every season. But at the same time, I can't say I appreciated his behavior, but he was just trying to defend himself. But there was no need for all that harsh and graspness. Maybe it was, but you tell me. I just can't be like, oh, he did her right, he did her good. You know what I mean? I just can't say that. But he was definitely lied on from Giselle. Giselle definitely did make a story up on him. So let's get into it when we talk about the reunion. So Chris basically asked Giselle some questions about, like, what's going on? Like, what did I do to you, Giselle? What did I actually do to you? And so, he wants to know what's going on. And Giselle basically, she responds to the whole situation. It's the way that Chris made her feel. It's not that Chris did anything to her, but it's the way that he made her feel. And Chris says, for instance, say I did say, can we talk back in your room? I'll give you that. And it wasn't no problem. If soon as there was a problem, how come you didn't say anything when your people had left? How come when we got to the room you didn't say, oh, my people's not here, so therefore, let's not have this conversation? And then Giselle said, well, you knew my people was gone. So basically Giselle saying that Chris knew that her people was gone basically is insinuating that he was trying to be alone with her one-on-one, and he was looking for something. And Giselle did insinuate that she felt like Chris wanted her to, basically say, oh, why are you going through that? I could treat you better. You don't deserve that. And she also felt like Chris lured her, to her room, and he wanted something much more. And then she also claims on the reunion, part 3, that basically, Chris was drunk. So it's like she's trying to justify, saying these things about him. I'm like, Lord have mercy, Giselle, what is going on? So yeah, and Andy was like, we're playing semantics. Like, what is happening, Giselle? So Giselle really didn't have, a pinpoint thing that he did to her. She said that he made her feel uncomfortable, but that was her. It wasn't like he was doing anything on purpose. They argued whether she had a robe on. She said she was fully dressed. Chris said that she had a robe on and she was laying on the bed. Giselle said no, that didn't happen. Chris said the door was shut. The door was open, and Giselle said the door was closed. Giselle said the door closed right behind you, Chris. You knew it did. And Chris said no, I stood near the door on the other side of the bed. The door did shut, but the lock was open, so it was open. And I said, well, maybe blah blah blah. We didn't want anybody to get the wrong idea. So basically, she said, Chris, could you check and see if anybody's calling us? And so he left. And because they both, she felt uncomfortable, and then I guess it seemed like he felt uncomfortable too, because he went to stand by the other side of the bed, near the door, because he didn't want to make her feel uncomfortable, because it felt like it was an uncomfortable situation. But it's not like they wanted to talk and he thought somebody was going to be there, somebody wasn't there, and then they started to think about how shady and how low down this show is. And so Chris he started to feel uncomfortable, but he did apologize to Giselle. And then when it comes down to Candice basically feels a certain type of way that you lied, like you insinuated, you said that sneaky link. And Giselle did apologize for calling Candice's husband a with Chris, and Giselle was deadly wrong. It was just wrong. It was low down. It was nothing like that. Giselle basically said that she used the situation because Ashley came to her and Ashley told her that she got a DM, and the DM was innocent. There was nothing in that DM that Chris was trying to get with Ashley or trying to get with Ashley's friends. You got Ashley's friends coming on the show saying that Chris was trying to get with them, and Blase in the third, and Ashley moving on with this plan with Giselle. So it just really seems like Giselle and Ashley, plan to, targeting Chris, because she felt like when it comes to Candice targeted her husband, and Candice has said some good things about her that hit under the skin, that hit to the soul and everything. So you already know she's down. She would be down with any plan to take down Candice. And we learned long time ago, from Monique, that Giselle Candice. Okay, so it is what it is. So that was a whole lie. And they basically deceive us when the real true story that was going on, it was Robin. Robin, husband, Juan was out here in these streets. He was with this one, he was with that one, he was all over town. Karen done seen him, the blogs done seen him. Women losing their keys, their money, their hotel keys, losing everything. They stranded when they supposed to be going to see another dude, but yet they gonna call your husband when they stranded. Okay, and the hotel very comfortable, but in any event, Robin had all the situation going on, so we got that situation out the door. But then Candice basically went for the ultimate knockout, and she basically calls out Giselle, but before she does that, when it comes to, Chris, he said, what did I do? And he said, so F and spit it out. You had 10 months. I was like, I wasn't feeling that. So that was one situation, like, But he had every right to be mad and every right to be upset. And basically, Chris is saying that he had to defend himself with his wife, with his kids, with his family. He had to answer these questions because people thought that he was trying to get with Giselle, that he was trying to, push up on her. And then also when it came to Ashley. So basically, he was just set up this season to take the fall. And he was going to be, Ashley's and Giselle's storyline. And basically, Robin was going to try her best to keep her real information up out of the situation. So basically, Candice and Chris were sacrificial lambs this season, and that's what happened. But Candice went off again, and basically she cussed out Giselle, told Giselle that she's trash, she's garbage, she's a soulless, lying, spineless bee. And I can't believe you lied down on my husband. And she basically called Giselle out and said, Giselle, you play victim all the time. And the reason why real victims can't come out and actually speak the truth because people like you. So basically, Candice is saying that Giselle sit here and make false allegations against somebody and it's not true, and people believe you. They come to find out that it's a lie, and then they get ridiculed because everyone thinks they're lying. So she's saying that about, Giselle. And also she's saying about Giselle that you feel free to make these type of allegations and mess with people's marriages as because you have entitlement, because you have privilege because of your light skin and you being close to being white looking, that you can sit up on this couch and play victim after you hurt somebody. Basically saying, since you identify as far as your looks, and people are gonna not think that you're so bad and not so harsh, you're not as bad as the other black people, she got a little bit more of our blood in her. That's what Candice is trying to say, that she's using the privilege that with colorism, you got the lighter hue, you got the dark, you got the light, you got the dark, and some people that are outside of the black race or in the black race tend to treat people of light complexion better because they feel like they're easy to get along with. They're non-confrontational, they're so pretty, they're so cute. And the ones of darker complexion, or they're a problem, or they're a troublemaker, or they're black, just stands out too much. That melanin just pop too much and they can't handle it. They can't control that power. They can't control that energy. They can't control none of that. Okay. So in any event, the way that Candice called her out, basically calling her a white woman, saying that she ain't a black woman, or because of her lighter complexion, she can get away with this stuff. But just the way that Candice said it, it just makes you be like, yo, calm down, girl. So, child, we got Candice out here dragging Giselle. Lord, when she said, with your privileged white looking tail. But she used the A word, like, Lord have mercy. She could have said this a better way. She apologized, later on, that basically she was being very derogatory. She was being shock value and everything. And, when you're really trying to fight a cause of colorism and things of that nature, sometimes if you're going to be the face of it, if you're going to speak on it, or you're going to bring it up, or you're going to show people that this is what happened, this is what's going on, you got to make sure you can convey that over to the viewers so they can see where you're coming from. They can actually see your point, because with the anger, the bravado, and the madness, basically, kind of proves their point, because now they're being calm, they're being chillaxed, because they done already ate off of you, Candice. They done ate off of you and your husband this whole season. And it took you forever to see who Giselle really is. It's taking you forever to see who Robin really is. And it's just like, if you and Chris wasn't so naive, and this can't be the first time you've seen these type of behaviors, you wanted to be down with her team, and clearly she's always telling you she don't want to be down with you or your husband, her and Ashley. And Robin goes back and forth. She needed to be your friend this season so she can, basically dodge the bullet about her husband actually cheating. But we understand where Candice is coming from, and we're gonna